Good evening around the world, and welcome to episode 28 of the Nerds United as One podcast. It is Paul English here. I'm hosting episode 2 of Bond Month tonight, and I am joined by a great panel, starting with Mr. Chris Miller. Chris, how are you?
Yeah, doing good, Paul. Doing good, Paul. It's been quite a weekend, still fresh from the buzz,
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And joining us as well, we have Max Vincent. How are you?
Hello, nerds around the world. I'm very happy to be here talking about my second favorite action film series. My favorite has got to be the MCU right now because I'm really invested in the series. But I'm really happy to talk about James Bond because I really love not all the movies, but most of them.
Fair enough. So, yes, in episode 2 of Bond Month, we will be getting to that shortly. First, however, it's a little sad news out of the gaming community. Over the weekend, we learned that Nintendo president Satoru Iwata, sorry, not good with Japanese names, I'm so sorry to say, sadly passed away over the weekend at the age of 55. Guy started with Nintendo sub-company HAL Laboratories, rose to president of Nintendo in 2002, invented the DS, the Wii console. I mean, this guy continued to keep Nintendo a powerhouse for decades to come. Very sad news. I can tell you right now that the reason I love video games so much is because of Nintendo. I played my first Mario game when I was 21 months old. I've been playing Nintendo ever since, and while my PS3 may be my favorite system of all time, I had a 1.5 Nintendo systems, still have 3 right now. I love Nintendo with all my heart. It's what made me a gamer, and Iwata-san will definitely be missed. So rest in peace, good sir. What you created will never be forgotten. Max, I know you were pretty sad about this. I know you posted that link on the chat. What was your reaction to this passing?
Yeah, I grew up with Nintendo. I bought the new Nintendo 3DS XL on the day of his death just to honor him. Because he was such a genius, like a visionary, and he made me want to play video games. Like, I wasn't a big fan of video games and all. He made me want to buy the Wii. I bought the Wii. He made me want to buy the 3DS. I bought the 3DS. He made me want to buy the Wii U. I bought the Wii U, and now I bought this. He made me want to buy those consoles. He made me want to try games that I've never heard of, like Xenoblade Chronicles. I thought it was going to be terrible. I'm playing it right now. I love it. He really kind of brought me into the gaming world, and I thank him for that. It's really like very sad news because I didn't even know he had the bile duct growth, and and dying at 55 is very, very, very young and
absolutely. Chris, you knock this. This is not the appropriate time to knock Nintendo. You try anything. I'm keeping you from the hangout today.
No.
So, what was your reaction to this?
Well, I mean, I never really heard of this individual before. I mean, I didn't really play a lot of video games when I was a kid, although I wish I did now. Because, with Halo, Mass Effect, stuff like that, I mean, it is a very sad passing. I had no doubt this guy was really much beloved by hardcore video games alike, Yeah, he certainly did, did a lot of amazing things and innovated and created, things for the genre that, no one's ever done and was applauded for his contributions to the industry. Like I said, I may not have heard of him, but it is indeed a sad, occasion. I mean, it's very sad, especially considering he died at 55. It's unbelievable,
Yeah.
All right, rest in peace. He will never be forgotten, no doubt about that. All right, guys, so let's get on to the main topic. It is episode 2 of James Bond Month, and today we are going to be discussing the gentleman James Bond, Sir Roger Moore. Appearing in 7 films throughout 12 years, he is the longest tenured Bond of them all. And he brought a much different take to Bond, as I mentioned, called the Gentleman Bond. He was much more sophisticated, much more. He didn't have like the raw edge that Connery had that made you think, oh, this guy's gonna kick my ass. You piss him off, so I shouldn't. But he definitely brought his own flavor to it, and 7 films, he must have done something right. Though we could make an argument he hung in 2 films too long, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But I never had a problem with Roger Moore. I thought he did a decent job. So those are my overall thoughts. Obviously, we'll get to discussing each film individually in a moment. But Chris, give me like an overall impression of Roger Moore. What impression did he leave you when it came to James Bond?
Well, well, he did certainly. Roger Moore certainly did have a lot of, you know, virtues playing this character. I mean, he's no Sean Connery. Sean Connery is the epitome of who we want this character to be. I mean, he created a character that will forever be a part of film history. Certainly one thing about the Moore films that I really didn't like is that they were a bit comical, and they didn't really give it much more effort. They was a little bit more they were a little bit more campy on the campy side, more than I can handle. But these were films that I think really put some dents in for the Bond franchise at the time they were made. They had some good elements about them, but they're not what I call the prime examples of this franchise. I mean, Roger Moore is an okay Bond, but I wouldn't say he's far from my favorite.
Okay. Max, what about you, Sir Roger Moore? What was your impression of him?
No, he's not. He's definitely not the best Bond. But he's okay. I don't know. He's kind of goofy and humorous. I didn't really like it. At one point, it became too goofy with Moonraker, and then at one point, it became too serious with For Your Eyes Only. I don't know. It was kind of hit or miss as well.
Okay, all right. Wow, I think sounds like I'm the only guy who actually liked him. I mean, he wasn't the best. That's still Sean Connery, but all right. So let's get to the films themselves. Roger Moore made his debut as Bond in 1973's Live and Let Die. Obviously, a memorable theme song. But I thought the movie itself was pretty good. As we all alluded to, Roger Moore is definitely a little more comical than Connery was, but that was his own unique trait to it. It was a good movie, a decent story. The action sequences were okay. The villain death was definitely funny. I don't know if it's but that may not be a good thing. Just the way he kind of blows up at the end. I did get a good laugh out of that. But as far as entry into the franchise, I suppose it could have been worse. So yeah, not too bad a movie. Max, why don't you go ahead with Live and Let Die? What did you think of it?
I love it. It's a great movie. It's been a while since I watched it though, but it's a great introduction for Bond, Moore as Bond. I really enjoyed it. I like the villain in it, Yaphet Kotto. That's his name. It has some great action scenes, although it's a little bit goofy at the end where the guy blows up. Yaphet Kotto blows up. And yeah, it becomes a little too goofy and too strange and too weird for a Bond film, but it's an enjoyable film. I liked it a lot.
Okay, Chris, Live and Let Die. What did you think of Roger Moore's introduction as James Bond?
Not a good. It's certainly not a good debut. Like I said, Roger Moore is okay, but they could have. Let's just say they could have worked on a few things in this film. It has the action sequences were okay. I thought they were a little unpolished in some parts of the film. I hated I didn't think the films were particularly interesting. They were a little bit predictable. Jane Seymour was she was man. It's a solitaire.
Solitaire.
She was smoking.
Yes.
But I'm not sure she played a very good Bond girl, in my opinion. In the comic, it does seem a little silly at times, a little corny, especially with the character J.W. Pepper. The sheriff. He's added more as a comic relief. And I hated the racial, epithets that were uttered in this movie. It's just it has some tropes of the black exploitation era.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It didn't really strike me as a very good debut for Roger Moore. It's a movie that I'm not. The theme song kicks ass though, but the movie itself leaves much to be desired.
All right, all right. Let's move on to the second one, and that is The Man with the Golden Gun. Again, a decent story, nice action sequences, memorable Bond girl. I love. Good night. Whoa, boy. But I think what's the one thing we can all agree on is the standout of this film, hands down, was Christopher Lee as Scaramanga. I mean, Christopher Lee, he's a god in entertainment. He really is, and he hands down the best part of this movie. His performance was memorable. I mean, I just loved him in this film. The infamous third nipple, the way he assembles his gun. I mean, just everything about him was menacing, and I just loved him. So a very good Bond film because of how well Christopher Lee carried it. Chris, I know we've talked about this before, but Man with the Golden Gun, what did you think?
I wish it was better. I just wish it was better. I wish Roger Moore's second outing as this character was a bit better. I mean, this is like the Philly. His previous film. It's silly. It's corny. It's a little bit too campy. You know. I mean, it seems the emphasis seems to be more on humor. You know, than it's, and not in a very good way. But Christopher Reeve plays a really damn good Bond villain. He's just really he since he's just a really menacing character, you know, very sinister, you know. But I'm not sure I really enjoyed the Bond girls in this whole thing. You know, the plot seemed paper thin at times. You know, it just wasn't. You know, it's just like it wasn't exciting or anything like that. I just didn't find it a particularly good Bond movie. You know.
Okay. Max, what about you, Man with the Golden Gun?
It's fine.
About it?
It's a fine movie. I mean, I like Christopher Lee in it. He's a great villain. Like, he's one of the best Bond villains. And Hervé Villechaize, I think that's his name. He does his butler. He's great in it. But like Britt Eklund, she's really freaking annoying in this movie. I don't know. I just wanted to grab her knife and slit her throat. You know, and it's an annoying character. You just want to put her in the trunk of a car, and they did that. I don't know. I kind of really thought she was really freaking annoying. She was annoying the living daylights out of me. That's a good word. She was fucking annoying, by the way. Like, she took me out of the movie. I don't know. And there was a really amazing stunt. You know, when the car did a 360, they had to ruin it with this stupid sound effect. You know, if they didn't put any music whatsoever, and just kind of. They'd be like, wow, but they had to do the corkscrew sound effect, whatever it is. I don't know. It's terrible. It was fine. The duel at the end wasn't very good. It's a little goofy as well. I didn't think it was very good.
Okay, all right. So let's move on to the next one then. That is, I believe, The Spy Who Loved Me. I would definitely say probably one of Roger Moore's better performances as Bond, or better Bond movies. Solid storyline, a memorable Bond girl with her being a KGB agent. We get the introduction of Jaws, one of those memorable henchmen of all time. I mean, this film was solid. A good Bond villain, just everything about it, just an absolutely solid movie, and definitely one of Roger Moore's better outings as Bond, I would say. Max, The Spy Who Loved Me. Give me your react thoughts on it.
This movie is really good. I like the late great Richard Kiel as Jaws. The villain though, still, I don't know. I like the fact that he shoots him in the balls again. Yeah, Jaws. I was kind of scared by this movie because I was scared by Jaws. At one point, Barbara Bach, she opens the closet and sees Jaws. I was scared out of my mind, and then when I was sleeping, I was just having nightmares that Jaws might come and bite me. I thought I thought he was a little too scary for me. I watched it when I was very little, but yeah, I was really scared by Jaws. He was like a horror movie character, but he's great. He's really great. And the action scenes are great. Not too goofy, but just goofy enough. And that stunt at the beginning with the ski stunt, perfect. There's no sound effect or anything. It's perfect. That's how you do stuff. Okay,
Chris, what about you? Spy Who Loved Me.
Definitely This is one Bond movie I particularly enjoy, and Roger Moore is pretty good in this outing. You know, I love the intrigue in it. There's a lot of excitement to this movie. The action sequences were pretty well done. I love Marvin Hamill's music in the movie, especially that opening song by Carly Simon. That is one of the best Bond movies ever. You know, I particularly enjoyed Barbara Bach as Anya. I'm a Sova, and of course, Agent Triple X, the KGB. I particularly thought she was a really saucy Bond girl. I like the Lotus Esprit, the car that 007 drives. Because it goes to submarine. That was pretty good. Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed that very much. Especially the opening sequence where he jumps off. When the parachute. I mean, with the Union Jack parachute, that was pretty damn awesome. I love that. This is a visually exciting, entertaining Bond film. I enjoyed this movie a whole lot.
All right, for a moment I was getting worried, Chris, that I was not going to find a single Roger Moore Bond film that you liked, but that you really liked. But guess we did find one. It's The Spy Who Loved Me. All right, then, let's move on to the next one. That was Moonraker. And, again, another one that I thoroughly enjoyed. Seeing the outer space theme was pretty cool. That was the one that really carried it. Obviously, Jaws is back again, another memorable performance by him. I remember my dad telling me a story about how when he passed away, which was only quite recently, actually, only a couple of years ago, every single person who worked with him said I've had nothing but nice things to say about him. They said he was an absolute gentleman, one of the nicest guys you can ever meet. So I just think that's really cool that such a really nice guy could be such a memorable and scary-ass villain like Jaws. But
yes.
Jaws Return was great. Then solid storyline, decent action, another very good Bond film. I thought so, at least. Chris, Moonraker.
I wish I enjoyed it as much as you, but I didn't. I hated that they took the thing into outer space. It was just to come off the popularity. You're trying to compete with the popularity of Star Wars. I mean, I don't really, it was inspired by Star Wars, because the actual novel of Moonraker does not take place in outer space, But this is like a completely silly entry. It kind of borderlines on self-parody. I like the Cat Adams sets. It's visually impressive, but it's not really, it's not something I particularly enjoy. Jaws is pretty good. As he was in The Spy Who Loved Me, the British villain was pretty cheesy as well. It's just it's not what I call good Bond movies. It's too many moments that are just too cheesy for its own good, Mm-hmm.
Okay, Max, what about you, Moonraker?
I got one sound effect describing Moonraker. This movie is terrible. It is the worst Bond movie ever. I don't get why the first half of this movie is set on Earth, then they go into space with all this goofy slow-mo space fight. I don't know. It's so stupid. The villain is stupid. I don't know. The Jaws is stupid. He becomes a good guy at the end. It's so corny and goofy and stupid and boring. And then I don't know. The one woman gets eaten by a dog. Gets eaten by a bunch of dogs. I always thought that scene was funny because of the music and how slow with the slow motion. This movie is so bad. It's really bad. Like, they should have just moved on to For Your Eyes Only instead of just with the success of Star Wars. Moonraker sucks. It's the worst Bond. And sadly, it was the last movie that Bernard Lee was playing M, because he passed away after.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice that. All right, I'll have to relook at that. All right, so let's move on to For Your Eyes Only. And I gotta tell you, I was not very pleased with the way they began. I mean, I understand wanting to keep continuity by showing Tracy's grave, but bringing in Blofeld again, and they don't even call him Blofeld. They just see this guy in a wheelchair. Like, anyone who has not kept track of Bond, like, doesn't know who Blofeld is and why Bond hates him so much, they're not going to understand that reference. And he was only in there for, like, what, 2 minutes? It's like, I don't know. I thought Blofeld should have just stayed dead after Diamonds Are Forever. But so Yeah, that was definitely a low point of the movie. It did not have a very good start, but it was okay. I mean, the story was okay, the action was okay, the Bond girl was okay, the villain was okay. It was just another typical Roger Moore Bond film. Nothing too bad to say about it. Just nothing very positive to say about it. Chris, oh no, wait, yeah, Chris, for your eyes only.
I mean, this is pretty good. It's not as good as Spy Who Loved Me, but I thought it was a pretty good movie. It had a less emphasis on gadgets. I like how gritty and realistic it was. I thought Carol Bouquet was a pretty decent Bond girl. Overall. I mean, and Julian Glover. If anyone recognize the actor Julian Glover, who plays Aristotle Christotops. He plays General Veers in the Star Wars movie The Empire Strikes Back.
Yes, he does. He also plays Walter Donovan in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
That's right. And you notice Cassandra Harris, who plays Countess Lacey von Schlaff. Schlaff, of course, went on to become Pierce Brosnan's wife. She went on, of course, and. Yeah, this is a pretty good. The action sequences were impressive. It was definitely intriguing. It was a great espionage story. I thought it was it couldn't have been something else, but I thought it was a pretty adequate adventure overall.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Max, what about you? For your eyes only.
I love For Your Eyes Only. This is my favorite of the ones that Roger Moore was in. The ski chase, once again, another amazing ski chase with fantastic music by Bill Conti, who composed Rocky and the Karate Kid and all that great stuff. I love this movie. It even has Charles Dance from Game of Thrones fame in a very small role. If you guys didn't know, I think this movie is fantastic. I always think that you don't watch Moonraker, skip right ahead to For Your Eyes Only, because Moonraker is fucking useless.
Okay, all right. So a lot of people I've often heard a lot of people say the problem with the Roger Moore era of Bond history, that Moore hung on for way too long, that he did 2 films too many, that he should have stopped after For Your Eyes Only, but no, he kept going, and which leads us to 1983's Octopussy. Probably my favorite title of a Bond film. It just seems to suit the franchise so well. But it was definitely one of the more sillier Bond films. Definitely I almost want to say it's more of a comedy film than an action film. But I mean, it was okay. I mean, Bond was still good. The Bond girl in this one was a veteran of Bond. She actually had a smaller role in not A View to Kill. The Man with the Golden Gun. She had a small role in there before she became the Bond girl in Octopussy. The action scenes were okay, but yeah, definitely more of a comedy film than an action film. But I got nothing bad to say about it. Max, what about you, Octopussy?
Yeah, Octopussy is a good movie. I do think it's a little goofy. It's a little too long. But yeah, I did start to feel the length at some point, but it's been a while since I've watched Octopussy, to be honest with you guys. So, but what I remember from it, I thought it was a good movie. But I still thought that Never Say Never Again was a much more superior film. That's my opinion, even though it's not an official Bond film because it was the Battle of the Bonds, stuff like that. Well, I loved Octopussy, and the last few movies by Roger Moore, they were good movies. After Moonraker, all their movies was good. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Chris, what about you, Octopussy?
God, this movie's awful. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it.
What?
Really?
Did you say awful or awesome?
It's awful.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's awful. I mean, it's just like, oh, this is such a terrible movie. Oh my God, the movies. I mean, the plot line isn't terribly interesting. I think it's a bit. I just didn't enjoy it. The villain was pretty silly. I think Mark Adams, she's pretty sexy, as But I didn't. There were a lot of things I didn't enjoy. I didn't enjoy, his clown costume. I hate that thing. And then he did.
Oh, yeah, I hate it too.
yeah, the fact he did a Tarzan yell and doing it,
Oh yeah.
I was like, no, it's really slow, and really silly and campy, and it's just like it strikes me more. Yeah, it strikes me comedy, more so than action adventure film. It's not something. It's just not the best of the. It's just like, it's not good entertainment.
Okay, all right. Let's wrap it up with the final film of the Roger Moore era, and that was A View to a Kill. Now, I thought this was a solid movie. I mean, with good action, good storyline. I mean, Christopher fucking Walken as the villain. Can you go wrong with that? I don't think so. So definitely a solid movie, I thought so. But at the same time, you could clearly tell Roger Moore is starting to show his age. He should not have done this movie. He was way too old for this one. When A View to a Kill came out in 1985, he was 58 years old, and you could show it. He still did a good job, but at this point, he was just getting too old. Bond ain't supposed to be old. That's just a rule. Bond ain't supposed to be old. He's got to stay young forever. So he just should not have done that movie. Nevertheless, I thought it was a solid film. I got nothing bad to say about it. Chris, what about you? A View to a Kill.
I wish I had some good things, but this is one of the weakest. It's probably the worst. It's probably next to the worst Bond film of all. I mean, the ski chase starts out pretty good, but when they play California Girls, I just like no. I was like no. I just like I wanted to cover my. I just shit my head. I was like no, please no. Like it just goes downhill from there. I hated the Bond girl. I just thought she. I mean, I thought I just like she. Tanya Roberts took me out of the movie. She was not an interesting heroine. I enjoyed Christopher Walken as Max Sorin. He's just twisted, menacing. And egomaniacal. This really this psychopathic megal. He put on a pretty good performance, but of course, one of the best things about this movie, is the song. The Grand theme song that kicks so much ass. But yeah, Moore is starting to show his age. He's been long in the tooth, and he's not believable in the action sequences. It's just like this movie's just a total disaster. And it's just like,
All right, Max, what about you? A View to a Kill.
Yeah, I like A View to a Kill. From what I remember, it's a good movie. It does get a little stupid at the end where they fight in the Golden Gate Bridge, and then the old guy just he goes out of the airplane and just yells, Max, Max, and then he's I don't know. That scene is just way too funny for me. But at one point, I think there's a car chase in Paris, and then I think Roger Moore's car is like being torn in half, and then you see clearly it's a stunt double. But it's a good movie, although, what's her name? Grace Jones. She's really, I don't know. She's a bad guy or she's a good guy. I never really understood why she double-crossed Walken and became the good guy. I just thought it was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's a good movie. It's a good end for Roger Moore as Bond because Timothy Dalton is like the most boring James Bond. Like, he's so boring. The Living Daylights is the most boring Bond film, but License to Kill is actually a good movie.
We'll get into that a little bit more, but you may want to, just food for thought for next time, Max, you should probably reevaluate and look at the way Ian Fleming wrote James Bond in the books, because if you study that history, you'll actually realize that Timothy Dalton actually played him closest to how Ian Fleming envisioned Bond, but we'll get to that We'll get to that next week when we get to Dalton and Pierce Brosnan. But little fun fact regarding A View to a Kill. One of the sidekicks, Jenny Fleck, the actress who played her, Alison Doody, also went on to play Dr. Elsa Schneider in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So little Indiana Jones connection there. All right, guys. So with that's going to wrap up episode 2 of James Bond Month. I'd like to thank everyone for checking us out today. Max, thank you very much for being here.
Pleasure for being here. I'd really like to geek out with my fellow nerds. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. Chris, as always, my friend, it's a pleasure.
Oh yeah, definitely a pleasure doing this. Love talking these things with you, Paul, and just like, and also to you fellow, talking to you fellow nerds out there.
Yes, indeed. All right, guys. So we will see you next week for episode 3 of Bond Month, where we go over Timothy Dalton and Pierce Brosnan. But until then, have a great night.